But it's going to be a very different presentation today. I'm not going to be addressing the marketer in the room. I'm actually going to be addressing you all as consumers. I'm going to be addressing you all as people who are all spending hours of the day consuming digital content, and yet the content is not getting discovered. So in the age of this worldwide of digital content, how do we see the unseen? There is more than 12,000 hours of content that is getting created each day. Yet, discovering the content is not easy. You speak to any content producer in the world, one big problem that they have is how do they get their content to become viral? How do they make their content be seen by the world when it is locked inside the walled gardens? The other side of the story is that despite of this content being where it is, users are going a long way to spend over 5 hours a day watching this content. To stay informed, to stay entertained, and to get ideas. So there's a need that the people are watching content, and yet the content is not getting discovered. Now look at this from another angle. Think of your journey to watch a video on YouTube. And I'll wait for it to play out. The journey is definitely not short or shorts. It takes close to about 8 clicks on your phone to be able to reach to a content. Just think of it. 8 clicks to watch one piece of content. But most often, we only have a moment's glance to capture the attention of the consumer. The content is not, the consumer of today is not giving us long time to watch the content. We live in the age of short videos. We live in the age of continuous scroll. We live in the age where the content has to grab our attention within probably a fleeting moment, or otherwise it just goes away. I call this as an attention of a goldfish. And that's the generation that we are living in, and is only going to become worse. So why can't the journey be simpler? Why can't all this money that is being invested in creating content to keep you entertained, keep you informed, keep you aware, why can't that content be discovered in a more seamless fashion? Why does you need to go to get the content? Why can't content come to you? Is the problem with which we started working. Now, this required complete reinvention. We didn't want to be another app in the App Store, because what's the point? If you're another app in the App Store, then we'll go through the same journey of an app getting downloaded, app getting discovered, and so on and so forth. InMobi has been in the business of mobile advertising for 15 years, so we understand a thing or two about apps and the app economy. I think anyone in this room who has created app would know what it means to get the user to open your app and spend the time on that app. So we didn't want to be another app in the ecosystem. Now that's where the big insight came. What's the place that a consumer is visiting most often every day? What's a place that you are visiting most often every day? Office? Really, I wish. The pub? I wish again, but probably more than the office. So what's the place that we're visiting the most often in any day? Your lock screen. Any guesses how often you see that screen in a day? You see that screen more than 50 times in a day. And you won't even notice that you're actually seeing that screen. It is not even in your attention span that you're picking up that phone and staring at it 50 times a day. I personally looked at my lock screen about 10 times while Mr. Agrawal was talking something. And why was I looking at that lock screen for that long? Probably for these reasons. I was certainly looking at the time because I was the next one to come on the stage. I was checking on notification and dismissing all the MyGate notifications that were coming in for all the delivery guys that are coming in to deliver something in my home. And then maybe just trying to pick up a camera and trying to take a notice of that beautiful image that was out there. But before I could turn on the camera, the image actually went away. But those are the use cases that people are doing that on the lock screen. And this real estate was really sitting in our plain sight, and there was literally no innovation that was happening on that front. Literally no innovation. What if you could do more with your lock screen? What if the lock screen brings the content to you rather than you having to go inside and find the content within different walled gardens? What if your lock screen can become personal? What if your lock screen can get you to see the content before it is known to the world? What if the lock screen can get you the content that interests you? What about if it allows you to shop in a jiffy? Or for that matter, just go live with millions of other Indians at the same point in time? Because one of the biggest problem or one of the biggest opportunity that is out there in the lock screen is that while I was looking at my lock screen 10 times in that period, I quickly had a glance in the room and probably about half of the room was on the phone. Now, they might be on the phone for different reasons. I'm not saying that all of them are on the lock screen, but we're all habituated to be staring at our phones almost every time. So just like me, there were at least 50 other people in this room who were looking at their phone at that point in time. Now, it's not an app that you need to go and visit for an 8-click journey. It's not an app. An app completely defeats our purpose for bringing this content. This is where the content comes to you. If you see out there, there's a button out there on your lock screen which says try it now. And that is how your content discovery journey starts. That is how the journey for us to discover the new content or to get entertained or to participate in live conferences or to participate in live scores, that's where all of our journey starts. Now, my content team warned me against it. This is something that one should never do on a forum, but I'm actually going to go really live. I'm going to show you the live product. Now, whether it is going to work or not, please excuse me. But this is actually my own phone. And I'm just going to point it to the camera here, and they're going to cut and actually show you the experience that I'm actually doing on my own phone. So, do I need to stand here? Are you guys able to zoom in on this? Just give them a second. Okay. 10, 9. Okay, perfect. Oh. Okay. Okay, I'm going to look a little bit away from you guys, but please excuse me for now. Is this possible to zoom in a little bit more? Okay, let me start here and see if I can deliver. There are a bunch of videos that I'm going to take you through after this. What I am doing here is I'm just powering up and down my phone. If I were to unlock my phone, I can do this and then it'll take me to my password and I'll have to unlock my phone. But I actually don't want to unlock my phone. I want to remain in an unlocked experience completely. Now let's say I click the watch button here. Now, just take my word for it that there is an audio that is going on here. You may not be able to hear that audio, but there is an audio that is going in here. This content is coming from bunch of different content producers who are creating content specially for this format of the content consumption. Now this is an infinite scroll. It's an infinite scroll that is going to keep you entertained. And this content is coming from various different partners. There are news, there are live gaming, there are live conference, there is live shopping, there is live education. There are a bunch of different publishers that are creating content especially for this live audience. Now, if you look at here, I'm going to just go back again, press the watch button. And now this is going to be really, really hard to see. But if you look at out here, there are about 15 different shows that are running at this point in time, including a esports tournament across all the colleges right now. There's someone who's explaining you how to do a better makeup tip. There is someone who's explaining how to do speak better English, and tons of different kind of content. The beauty of this medium is, and I think somebody took a video just prior to this session finishing, and they want to be getting about 8 million people to watch that by tomorrow on Insta. The beauty of having a watch button right on the lock screen is that the concurrency of the users that are watching the content is really, really high on this platform. And let me show you some examples of how we have seen this play out in the last few months. Now, the biggest question that we get always asked, does iPhone have it? Is there stuff on the iPhone? We've captured the Android phone market. So anyone who's an Android phone user in this forum, and if you happen to have bought your phone anywhere in the last 1 to 2 years and any of these brands, you would have this product on your lock screen by default. It is not an app that needs to be downloaded. It actually comes with the factory shipment on the device itself. But still, we were always asked this question, what about iPhone? What about the stuff going on iPhone? Despite of 1% of the users in India only having the iPhone. And the biggest shot in our arm was when 2 weeks ago, even Apple announced that Apple is going to come out with a product via which developers can launch their widgets on the lock screen. So to an entrepreneur who's been trying to change the world of content consumption for so long, seeing an Apple come out and announce their product on their lock screen was, I called up my mom that day. I said, "Ki ho gaya ab. We figured out. I'll not have to answer this question about iPhone for the rest of my life." But lock screen is where 173 million people right now are daily consuming 25 minutes of content. Let me just settle these numbers for you. 173 million consumers in a day are spending 25 minutes a day. I can bet my last dollar on it that you cannot find any one app that has that level of usage at any point in time. And again, this is the power of being right in front of where the consumers are and where the consumers are spending their time. Now, what do we do with this? This, as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. We've been able to get the user's attention, and we've been able to get users to give us their pristine time. But what are we delivering to the user in return? And let me just take you through some examples here on what has transpired only in the last 2-3 weeks. The lock screen is where 690,000 people interacted on a live show with Rajkumar Rao. Rajkumar Rao was live. He was taking challenge with real people, and those real people were answering questions directly posed by him. You've seen that happen on, I think, many, many forums. Instagram does that. I've seen Facebook Live, YouTube Live. But that's about 40,000 people more than Star Wars global live streams on YouTube. Just consume that in mind for a second. Star Wars on YouTube could gather on a global basis, could gather about 650,000 people at any point in time. And we did that with Rajkumar Rao on a challenge accepted in India. The other example, the lock screen is where we did live concert. We got the newbie bands to come and play. We got Mohit Chauhan to come and play. We got Euphoria to come and play. And we had about 2.5 million, about 2.2 million people watch this content in a live concert. That's just 90K difference between the number of TV viewers on Coffee with Karan. Just 90K difference. Just again, let that sink in. I was able to get a performer to come and create a music property and make about 2.5 million or 2.2 million people watch it concurrently live. This is another interesting one. This is where the creators came and tried to showcase the new, funky, interesting products. The products which are not considered purchased, certainly not the Lambos of the world, but probably the sneakerheads, probably the people who are looking for the coolest t-shirt out there. And there are people who are coming and showcasing these products which are very, very, very impulse buy. We had roughly 2.7 million people interacting with those shoppers and showing a consideration for those products in just a period of 3 days. Mind you, that's equal to nearly 1% of number of digital buyers in India in 2020. The lock screen is where 2.7 million gamers participated in just one live gaming tournament. There was a gaming tournament where different colleges were coming together, and those colleges were sort of competing against each other on the game. We went live with their stream. So when people were playing the games, their games were streamed live and their games were being watched by the other people. There was about 2.7 million people watched that stream live, which is about 1.3 million more than the PlayStation most viewed YouTube live stream. Roughly 1.3 million. And again, I'm talking about these are the bottommost numbers are global and our numbers are just in India. And there are a few other examples. I mean, this is where we've now started to see people actually come and settle their feud. We know the biggest controversy between these two cricket legends or erstwhile cricket legends, and they came up and they made up their Slapgate controversy, and Harbhajan ended up apologizing to Srishant for what he did during that IPL match. And this content went viral. So in this thing, we ended up as a platform where this particular producer created the content. Users watched that content purely because of the power of default on the lock screen. Consumers saw that content, they liked that this feud was being settled, and then they took it and then they started posting that on Twitter and Instagram and where else, and that's how we just ended up becoming viral. So we were a medium on which content was discovered, and then the content was promoted and became viral on other mediums. Now this is probably my most favorite one. We had a DJ go live from Goa. Now this guy is actually playing, not in a concert, this guy is actually playing from his basement, playing from his room. He went live at about 10 p.m. in the night. We had about 800,000 people watch his concert live in a span of 1 hour. Just let that sink in. That's about 8 Eden Garden worth of people. That's like 8 lakh log ek saath listening to some creator's content. And then that creator actually saw a huge increase in their followership, whether it was on Insta or whatever the platform where these creators are measuring their followership. They saw that real thing. Now, what is the real chance of this creator's content ever getting discovered? And I know millions and millions of creators that go live at any point in time on different platforms. if they are even able to get a single digit 1,000 users to ever watch their live stream, it's a miracle. And the numbers that we are talking about here are mind-bogglingly large numbers. Now, how can one drive this experience as a content creator? You're going from an 8-click journey to discover the content to a 1-click journey to land directly on a content. Just try to keep that in mind. We're on top of every other app that is sitting on your device as a consumer. And that's a huge, huge responsibility that we have. And we don't take that responsibility lightly at all. We deliver 1-click entertainment at the moment when people are picking up their phone. And we bring the content to you rather than you as a consumer going to seek the content. Now, just absorb these 3 things, and as a content creator, now switch your hat and put your hat as a content creator. What the paradigm has shifted in such a forum. The paradigm of trying to create a content and put the content inside the walled gardens and then buying ads on top of it so that you can get your content discovered to your consumer and hope in hell that content goes viral for all of us to get some earned media credit is probably going to be the thing of the past on a platform like this. Now, I'll just give you one example of how a brand as a content creator actually leveraged it. Now, Disney Hotstar, while the world was on IPL scores were actually live on glance. So as a consumer, when you looked at your lock screen basically showed that watch button actually became a button says live score. You open that button of live score and suddenly the things scroll, and then you have a live score coming right on your lock screen along with few other cricket match trivia or few other cricket match statistics. Now, of course, Disney Hotstar had rights to that content, so they could bring the content onto any forum that they wanted to showcase the content. And when the users were engaging with their content, users also responded back with subscribing the Disney Hotstar properties. And we managed to deliver an insane number of registration to them, again in a short span of 1 to 2 days. So this whole power of content being discovered and users engaging on that content is a very well understood loop to all the marketers and content creators. But the biggest problem that all of us grapple with on any day is, how do I get my content discovered? How do I get the users to see that content? And how do I get users to respond back to that content in a manner that works for us? And what we've been able to do is to convert that momentarily glance that each one of us give to our lock screen 50, 60, 70, 100 times a day. What we've been able to do is to convert that momentarily glance into a full-fledged content discovery experience for them. With that, I'm going to leave you with a simple hashtag. What are you doing to lock their glance? What is any content producer in this world is doing to make their content discovered in the world where there is a glut of content, but the users are still not finding it? Just one last point from my side. Again, incredibly proud to be part of an enterprise that is creating this for the world. We're not creating, there are enough examples out here in India of the platforms that have been very successful in the West and then they're coming over here. We believe that this is the first time we are creating a category that has no parallel. And this category is not only, we're live in India, we're live in Indonesia, we're live in Malaysia, we're live in Brazil, and hopefully by the end of the year, we'll also be live in the US. So this whole new category of content consumption and the habit that we are creating has a huge, huge possibility of going global And that is the mission that InMobi and Glance is on. So what are you doing to lock their glance? And that's the quest that Glance is on. Thank you very much, everyone.
Well done, Abhay. But hold on. What we need to do is, we've got lots of demands from the audience, all right? And people are saying you were showing them the application on the phone, but they couldn't see it. So I want you to show it again, please, on that camera, and we'll do take 2. Are you game for that?
Perfect.
Let's do this once more. Ladies and gentlemen, take 2. Abhay, I request you to please show it on the big screen there. So ladies and gentlemen, lock their glance.
Okay. I don't know if this is any more visible than what it was last time, but
let's give it a shot.
let's say here. Now this is where a user is going directly from. Actually, let me show you this live game that is going on here. This is going to be massively exciting. There is a creator called Tokyo Gaming. She's a lawyer by the day, but game streamer by the night, and she's just an amazing professional. I think we have something that she's doing right now. Let me see this watch live. I'm actually going to watch her live stream at this point in time. And let me just see, I have really no idea how many people are watching this live at this point in time. So I'm placing myself in very vulnerable position. For all I care, there may not be anybody who's watching her stream at this time, but let me see that.
I hope you have enough internet connectivity. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Oh wow, so if you see here, she's actually doing live streaming, and you can't see this number very small here. There are about 120,000 people that at this point in time in the country are watching her live stream. Now she's become extremely popular just in the last 3 to 4 months alone. And prior to that, she had no mechanism to even get her content discovered at any point in time. So you see that there are exciting creators that are creating the content. There are consumers that are wanting to discover the content, but the platforms where the content is logged are playing a role to get the content surface in a certain way in the consumer. So this was actually a very live show. For 120,000 people are watching her game live stream, and I think is playing I don't know which game she was playing, sorry. So I'm not a big of a gamer, but to me, the content creativity lies with the content creator. All of you guys are the creators in the room. You're creating content either to attract your brands or to surface your, whatever. You're creating content at all points in time. Our mechanism is that we're not the creative folks here. We're not the ones who can know what kind of content to be created, but we damn well know how to get the content to be seen by the consumer in a world where the content is getting buried every single day.